Today I want to look at the pen tool in Adobe Illustrator. You should be able to find the pen tool in your toolbar on the left side of your screen. It's this one, not the one with the S curve. That's the curvature tool. This is the pen tool. You can also push P on your keyboard. The pen tool can create straight lines between anchors just by clicking and moving and clicking again. But if you click and drag with the pen tool, it creates handles. Handles allow you to create curves with the pen tool. They give your line segment a speed and trajectory. Let's play around on the iPad for a second so I can show you how I like to think about handles. Here's an anchor with handles. An anchor acts like a stop sign. The entry handle acts like a yellow light, a yield. And the exit handle acts like a green light, an acceleration. So without handles, a line segment would simply move straight from one stop to the next stop. But with handles, my speed and trajectory are affected. So if I'm starting at this anchor, I have to exit along that handle and then arc back towards my next anchor. My next destination has no handle, so it would be a straight line. But now as I head back to where I began, I have to arc my way in because of that yellow yield. I have to aim to enter that anchor at that trajectory. Okay, how would the line curve between these anchors with these handles? I have to head out from this anchor at this direction, but I have to enter into this anchor at this direction. So a curve between those first two anchors would look something like this. Next, I have to exit in this direction and enter at this direction. Longer handles have more influence over your line than shorter handles. So our connection between these two anchors would go something like this. And then finally we have to exit this anchor at this direction and enter the other anchor at this direction. So that creates an arc. Okay, this is going to be a mess, I think, but let's give it a try. Handles don't have to be in line with one another. The entry and exit handle can be disassociated from one another, which creates a hard angle. So here we go. I have to go this way and then come in this way. Here's a strange one where I have to turn in quickly. I think it's important to note that if these two handles were more extreme, they would create a loop because of the intense speed. A line between these two anchors would do something like this. Okay, next we have a disassociated handle, so we come to a hard stop and then we exit out this way and then we have to come in this way. Then we're heading out to the left and then up. Another hard stop followed by an exit this way and then an entry back in this way. And now we go back to Illustrator. Now let's make some curves. By the way, you might want your fill on transparent and your stroke on black. To make the fill transparent, you can click on this little bitty crossed out icon below the fill and stroke icons. If I made a heart with straight lines, maybe it would look something like this. But let's try to make a heart with only two anchors. I'm going to click, I'm going to move down, I'm going to click and hold to create handles. I'm going to pull and pull and pull until I get the arc that I want. This would be the right side of the heart. But this creates a problem because of this exit handle right here. If I try to go and close this, I'm going to have a rather blobby thing. This is a good opportunity to disassociate the two handles. So move until you make the right side of the heart the way you want it. Then come and push Option. And now you've disassociated the two handles. So now I'm going to move this exit handle up to mirror the right handle, the entry handle. And then I can actually just come down and click on my first anchor, and that will create a bit of a heart. Or you could create a heart by disassociating your handles 2 times. With my first anchor, before I even create a line, I can establish some handles. I can move down, create more handles, and disassociate those. And then come in and mimic. Now that's a good looking heart right there. By the way, you might find it easier to use a mouse when we're using all these programs, but I don't. You can do everything we need to do in this class on a trackpad. It is a bit like playing the piano though, but I always click and hold with my left hand down in the bottom left corner. I do all my dragging with another hand, so if I'm moving things around, I'm dragging while maintaining a click right here. And then if I have to add Option or Shift or Command, I just move upward and hold these with my left hand as well while I'm still clicking and dragging this way. It'll feel a little unnatural at first, but I think you'll get used to it. Or you could just use a mouse, that's probably easier. Now I recommend you take a few minutes and just play around with the pen tool and curves. Click and drag and click and drag. Click and drag and disassociate handles and send them off in a new direction. If you draw with the pen tool without a transparent fill, your shape will do these very strange and confusing and distracting things. If this is happening, just remember to go over to your fill and change it to transparent. A few final things I want you to know about the pen tool. If you hold Shift while you're using the pen tool, it will hold a straight line at a strict angle of 90 or 45 degrees. So if I hold Shift now, notice how it locks into these degrees as I move around. That can be useful for something more geometric or architectural, so that's while holding Shift on the keyboard. If you're working along on a pen drawing but you need to pause, you can push Escape 2 times on your keyboard and that'll get you off of it. You could then switch to your selection tool and go work on something else. But you can return to your pen line by pushing P and coming up and pushing on the last anchor that you made on your drawing, and then you can resume your work again. If you're about to enclose a shape, a little special symbol will pop up to the right of your pen tool. You can see that little empty circle there, and that means I'm about to complete a form. Oh, one more problem that students sometimes run into is if you double click on something, it moves Adobe Illustrator into isolation mode, and isolation mode prevents you from affecting any other objects than the one you clicked on when you double clicked. There really isn't many opportunities in this class that you're going to need isolation mode. If ever you find yourself accidentally in it and stuck in it, just go double click away from everything and it'll return to the normal state. Okay, do a little more pen tool play and get comfortable with this new tool.